Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Moji Baba Ki Jai. So, we gather here to recognize the self, self-realization, self-recognition. How to do it is the primary question. Because if you're doing it wrong, then we better stop. No? If you're doing it wrong, then we better stop because maybe we are going in the opposite direction. We don't know. Yes? So, therein lies the problem. So, how to find the self? All the sages have said, you are already that. You already are the self. God's presence that you're looking for is already your presence. Then everybody complains and says, but I don't feel that, I don't experience that. How can I make that my living reality? And it's a fair question to some extent. So the sages have told us, Bhagavan said, it is not a new attainment you will get. You will not get the self as a new attainment one day and say, okay, now this is the self, I got it. So it's not something that will come from outside of you. Then what will it be? Only the removal of ignorance, the removal of the false idea. And the false idea, the main false idea is the I thought, the idea of separation, the I that I can refer to in some way, the I reference is the ego. So this is the ignorance that we need to be free from. So the disciple says, Master, please help me. How can I be free from all of this ignorance so I can discover myself? And what did Bhagavan say? He says it already is so. That's big trouble. There's big trouble because the instruction started with all you have to do is get rid of all the ignorance so that you can come to the self. And when the disciple asks, but how can I do it? The master says it is so already. You see? So if Bhagavan had a tantrum throwing Sangha like many of us do, then then the disciple would have said, if it already is so, then why did you tell me to get rid of ignorance? And I'm sure that Bhagavan would have said, because you have to. So let's say that we take Bhagavan's word for it and say we have to be empty of ignorance and then we are free or we find the self. Now, what is this ignorance? Where does it come from? Who is the producer of this ignorance? What is the voice that proposes ignorance to us? That voice is the mind. Besides the mind's proposals about this is reality and this is how things are, this is how your life is, this is how the world is. You see, determinations about the state of reality and then determinations about what you should do or not do. These are the two main functions of the mind. So if this is the voice of ignorance, because without this, there is no I thought, there is no trouble. I am does not play as if I am something without these proposals from the mind, isn't it? So, to be free from the mind. So say the mind is the thief that you want to catch and put it in a prison. How can we do that? That's the question. That's the main question. To be free from ignorance. How can we do that? Now, I'll tell you what most spiritual seekers are doing. What most of us may be doing is that suppose the mind is the thief and we want to catch it. we try to call the thief and say, please tell me, how do I catch you? And if that was the nature of the beast, which is that it will help in that way, then we could have done that. But what have we definitely noticed about the mind? The more we chase it, the more it runs. Self-preservation seems to be in the design of the mind. Otherwise, on the noticing itself, that the mind is the ATM machine causing all this misery here, then we could just shut it off and say, I don't want you anymore, off. But that is not the design of the mind, is it? It wants to preserve, self-preservation. So if the mind is the source of ignorance and self-preservation is part of its design, then how useful is it to call this thief and say, can you please tell me your address because I'm done with you, I want to catch you? What do you feel is going to happen? You see? Have you met a thief like that? Call the thief and it says, yes, yes, I'm waiting for you to catch me. Come, here I am. See, I'm the one troubling you. Catch me. It doesn't do that. Instead, what does it do? It says, oh, me? Little old me? I didn't do anything. It's your feelings. It's your relationships. It's not me. It's all of that. I'm your friend. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you. Here I am being helpful and you're accusing me. You see, this is the complaint from the mind. So, all of spiritual seeking is driven by projects that we have received from where? If you see that, then that is the end of the journey. So what does the thief do instead? When you're close to catching the thief, it creates diversion. Hey, this is the problem. Your partner is the problem. Your anger is the problem. Your lust is the problem. All this is the problem. I'm just your friendly neighborhood guide to this spiritual mystery. I will help you through this. So when I ask you this question, how do you know? I feel it is of primary importance. When you say that my trouble is this, I had an experience 3 weeks ago, but I can't stay in it because I keep oscillating. How do you know? Is it not the thief telling you its address? So how do you know? It's very important to contemplate this. And once you know like this, once you know from the mind, what happens? What do you take yourself to be? Take yourself to be an object in time, an object in space. And without that, where are you? Without that, what is your location? So contemplate. And contemplate does not mean that you think about it. Contemplate means keep this question in your heart and let the answer emerge. What is driving your spirituality? If the attempt is to be free from ignorance, then can you ascertain that it is not being driven by ignorance itself? So I'm giving you some of this context. So when I ask you, how do you know, you don't get super irritated. You have some sense of where it is coming from. Let's go to Mahesh.
Hello.
Oh, my dear.
Listening to you, I just feel like I don't know what to do, and I don't know if I need to do anything, and I just felt to raise my hand just to
Yes.
open up the opportunity if you see or hear, you know, something that you can, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. Thank you for this. So,
Yeah.
uh, let's start with this. I feel like it's good enough to start with this. So you said, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know what to do anymore after listening to you. You see? Now, do you know this?
No, it's just like a feeling.
Is it a,
Uh,
is it a feeling? I'm gonna use this and thank you for starting like this, because this is classic mind diversionary tactic. It'll say it's not me, it's a feeling. Does a feeling say I don't know,
no,
or does a feeling say I do know?
no,
Is
no,
is feeling a source of knowledge in that way?
no, no. And even to use the words that I used, I was just kind of looking for some way to try to explain that when I looked within, there was no kind of direction that seemed to be calling, or you know, there was no idea of a direction that would be good to go in or not good to go in, or there's just no idea of what would be good, what would be not good. I
Yes,
really don't know.
yes, yes. So right now, when you look quote unquote within, is the absence of direction leading to a feeling of being lost or the idea of being lost?
No, no. Uh, if I believe a thought that I need to know a direction, I need to have a direction, that can lead to like when I kind of check in or connect in with this idea of I need to know something or I need to do something, then a bit of panic, kind of tension comes up. But
Yes.
only if I connect in with that.
Okay, okay, let's go a bit slower. So empty of this, empty of this conceptual direction about what you should do and not do. Is it? Now the mind will propose that this is an unintelligent state. It will propose that it is an unintelligent state, and therefore then we need to find some balance between using the mind and not using the mind. See? That's the proposal that will come from the mind. It will say, but without me, you can't run this life. See, you need it for quote unquote practical reasons. See? Or it will say that, yes, yes, all of this is fine for spirituality or the discovery of the truth. You see, but you can't run your life like this. And I would ask you then that if the sharing of satsang can happen from this heart knowledge, then why can't the rest of your life be also run from that? And all that we see around us, the whole functioning of this universe, if it can be run with this intelligence of the heart, then why is it that running our life is a problem?
Yeah, there's just a thought that if there's not some mind strategy in place and in practice, that um, activities that seem to require the mind, like tour guiding, for example.
So let's pause here, because how come the mind is not needed for the sharing of satsang, but it is needed for tour guiding?
Because the sharing of satsang is about what is always.
Yes. From the
and
heart,
turning.
I cannot say, Mahesh, you're wearing a nice shirt today. You see, for that I need to use the mind. Is that the idea? The shirt is not permanent. It is not about what is. It is in the realm of perception. So intuition is incapable of guidance or of moving in this realm of perception. Is that the notion? And yet, sorry, I know that you're framing some words, but and yet, when we find the, like, let's say, the best sportsman, the best scientist, all of them say that I don't know what happened. For a few minutes, I was empty of mind. I was in the zone.
Mm,
And that's where
yeah.
I perform at my highest. Many have reported that. I don't want to say this often because then we will look at that as some sort of a cheat code to life or try to get some special powers or something like that. But that's not the idea. So if all these ones who are operating in what we call worldly stuff also report that when they're empty of mind stuff, in the no mind, that is when the highest discoveries come to them, or the highest movement happens through them.
Yeah.
And what
And
that tour guiding or the sharing of satsang or playing football or becoming a school teacher, for all of that, we need to refer to ourselves as this limited object. And from that reference point only can all of that happen. Isn't that itself a mind attack, a mind diversion?
it is an idea that seems to want to be believed without proof.
Tell me what your heart is saying.
That all of these words are just ripples on the surface of a deep, unmoving ocean of self. And
Look at that. Instantly. Suddenly you went from sounding like somebody to sounding like Ashtavakra or something.
seems to be one core idea of
No, now tell me again what your heart is saying.
not saying anything.
What is the difficulty in living like this?
Oh. I don't want to say the thing that's coming to say because it's a thought. I don't get paid to be like this.
You may still get paid or not. I don't know. I don't know about that. In fact, there is no way that you can predict. You may become the best tour guide or the worst, being in the heart. That much risk we have to take. So how do you know is a very important question to use. If you just conclude on the basis of some mental construct, then it's just leading you down the garden path. Intuitive, and I've given you the master key to be intuitive. How can you ensure that you're being intuitive? When who you are is apparent to you, you're being intuitive and not mental. When who you are is apparent to you, you're being intuitive. All of life is already functioning from here. Like you said, on the surface, the ripples on the surface, you see, can seem to make these signals that they are running themselves. But it's not true. Don't come to any resolution with your mind about this, or wait for some conclusion from the mind or some certificate. It's going to say, yes, yes.
Christian, mute that fan. It's a much time. Okay. Oh, yeah.
So another trick the mind will play is that, oh, but then there's nothing left to talk about. Then what can I say? This is just not true. If the trees can grow and the birds can flap and the fish can swim without the mind, then this body can also speak, if that is the way of the heart.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Let's go to Loni. We don't hear or see you, my dear. No. Okay, we'll come back to you. Let's go to Shivoham. Oh, my dear.
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, yes, I wanted to check in with you. Yes, I have been inquiring on basically on thoughts, let's say on the validity of thoughts somehow.
Yeah.
And yes, and on what they actually can tell about me or about my past or future, if I have a past or if I have a future, actually, because
Yeah.
it seems that it's only thoughts,
Yes.
only imagination,
Yes.
and also the idea of me, all the ideas actually
Yeah.
are just ideas.
Yeah.
And and maybe what I wanted to check is but it's also an idea that seems that the thoughts comes and there is some identification with them, and maybe the idea that I'm going back to, if I still identify, it's
Yeah.
is mind is using it like you see, you still have anxiety or something, and I can observe that also.
So how
But
do you know? How do you know all this is happening?
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Is
just
the thief whispering the thief's address in your ear?
sorry.
Is it not the thief who's whispering the thief's address?
Yes.
Yeah. And how much to trust that thief?
Yeah.
Is it? And what I'm pointing you to may seem like it's a very simple instruction. So how do you know? Yes, it's you see? But this is to come to the end of time. It is to come to the end of space. All the conceptual notions are swept away. And doesn't mean that you are left in a perceptionless space necessarily, but you're left, in fact, fully in view of your perceptions, or your perceptions are fully in your view because you're not distracted so much by the mind stuff. So even the play of your manifest aspect, you see, is fully enjoyed as you're open and empty in this way. So where can we go for a true report about ourselves?
Yeah.
Where can we go? We must find that. No? If we need a report, then we might as well go to the true place. It is not, because the mind is always proposing a limitation, how we are the body. That is the central construct, the body-mind. If the mind is proposing that, and all of its proposals are in that context, in that reference of being somebody, then where can we go for a true answer? And you know what the good news is? Just be empty of the mind. And the true answer is there with you. You may not be able to squeeze that answer into your head always. Sometimes you may be able to express it. Your mouth may be expressing it. You see? Sometimes it seems to ripen or show up in the manifest. Sometimes it cannot show up in the manifest. And either way, it is fine. But you are not lost. Is knowledge only knowledge when it is expressible in words? And is true knowledge always, the highest knowledge always inexpressible, including love, music, truth, joy? You have to study the notes of a tune. The notes of a tune and say, because this note came and then this note came and then that note came, that's why I enjoyed it. No. I played a bhajan which most of you did not understand the language, and yet most of you were swaying. You were swaying. I mean, you don't have to like the bhajan, but most of you were swaying like that. You see? So, what is it? Was it the words? Did you understand the words? Was your mind able to fathom the words, and that is why you enjoyed it? No, this is a joy which is empty of that, empty of a need of conceptual understanding. And it is the same with love. You see, it is the same with truth. So don't have this idea that without the mind, I am lost, because it is not true. That is not your experience anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if you're not lost, in fact, if you are found, then what is the reason, what is a good reason to believe the notions of the mind? So we've taken out two of the main things, isn't it? One is that I can't do my practical work without the mind. Second is that without the mind, there can be no words, or I can have no report about myself. I am lost. Neither are true. Because if it was true, then we would not put their photos, the ones who have become become rested in the no mind. We would not put up their photos on the wall. You would send them to madhouse or something. So actually, in the world, when it is said no, that this one has lost their mind, it is not like that. They've not lost their mind. It is too much mind. So if you notice their expression, they're just like, there's no like, they're just believing everything the mind is saying. Yeah. So they may be repeating it out loud and things like this. So this is not losing your mind. This is actually just taking only the mind to be real. But the ones who come into the unborn, come into the no mind, they discover the presence of God in their heart. The highest being in the universe is your Atma, your presence. And that reality is so simply apparent to you, that all notions of effort sound nonsensical. I want to tell you all one thing, that the graduation of the spiritual seeker is the spiritual ego. The graduation of the spiritual seeker is to the spiritual ego. The emptying yourself from spiritual seeking is the discovery of God. So don't try to help me. Don't try to help the me in your journey. And the product of your inquiry should not be something that you can use to make progress. It can sound strange, everything I'm saying, because that is the whole method of spiritual seeking. But who are we trying to help in this process? Where can we go to find a true answer about anything at all? You meet someone on the street and they say, "What's up?" So where will you answer that from? What's going on? How's life? How are things with you? What is it? Where can we go for a true answer? It seems like the most obvious question everybody asks, but the answer is not that straightforward. What's happening? Nothing has ever happened. You can't report like that. And without a determination about what is true in your current state, how will you decide what to do next? You say, this is my problem, this is my obstacle. But without that determination, how will you decide what to do next? And where is that determination coming from? The mind is telling you maybe, that I'm very good at this, or my temperament is for this, my temperament is not for this. And if this is the thief, you feel like it's giving you the right direction. There's nothing you can do from the head. Nothing. It's that whole thing is hopeless. No tactic, no strategy, no plan. Not even no tactic, no strategy, no plan. Because that can become the new plan. Nothing that your mind can fathom. Nothing. Here you mean God. Here. Your very presence is the presence of God. Your Atma is the Paramatma. They are not two. That is the fundamental principle of Advaita. Who do you feel like is sitting in your heart? Who do you all feel like? Whose presence is it? You say, I am. Who is that? Is it somebody who was born from your mother's womb? Who is this that you say, I am? Before you say, I am body, I am man, I am husband, I am wife, before you say all of that, you say, I am. Who is this I am? Whose presence is this? This is the treasure that you are looking for. You cannot find this treasure with any effort. It's very simple. It's very simple. You can't find it with effort. So if I told you I've lost my mobile phone, how will you look for it? How will you look for it? Say, you can try and call. And then if you call, what are you waiting for? The ring. So you'll perceive. Or if you say, okay, it was on silent, how will you look for it? Search. No? How will you search? You look for the shape of the phone, the quality of the phone, the thing. And you can then say, okay, this is an Apple phone or a Samsung phone based on the quality, the shape, the size. You see? Now, can we look for God in that way? Can we look for yourself in that way? So if you can't look for yourself in that way, you see, how many of us are looking for an experience?
Yeah.
You're all looking for an experience. I want to
Mhm.
have the experience of the self. But the self then would be a perception.
Mhm.
And all perceptions come and go. You see? That is the one, Vedanta 101. Everything that you perceive comes and goes and is not real. So if the self cannot be searched for, and like we can search for a mobile phone, then maybe you can just think about it and solve it. Like what is 27 into 24? Compute it. Is it? So then what is God? Can we compute it like that? What is God? Cannot find. That's why one of my favorite lines is from the Sikh religion, where they said, "Soche sochna hoye jo soche lakwa." Which means you may think and think and think 100,000 times, but God will never be found as a product of your thinking. So then we are in trouble because we cannot find it through perceiving. We cannot search for it like we can go to mountains and we can go to rivers and we can do all of that stuff for fun, but we will not find God as a perception there. At best, it may make the mind a little quieter. You see? So it may set the stage for the discovery, but going to anything or going physically anywhere is not going to make you bring a perception of that which is unperceivable. And thinking about it, trying to solve it conceptually is not going to do it. Then what do we have? Then what method of seeking remains with us that we can use? So you can't see, hear, smell, taste, touch. You can't think, you can't imagine, you can't try to remember. All of these faculties are gone. You can't even feel because the feeling will also be a perception. And every feeling also comes and goes. So every faculty is gone that we are used to using. Now are we lost? Now are we lost? Or is there something else? So when I ask you, are you aware now? Which faculty are you using to confirm your awareness? That you are the Sakshi, the witnessing of all of this perception. When I ask you if you are that, you confirm, yes, I am witnessing all of this. With what faculty do you confirm? I'm not asking how the words will come out, even though that is questionable, but I'm saying with which faculty is the confirmation of you as awareness or your awareness, whatever way you want to look at it, is with what faculty is it made? That is the neglected faculty of self-knowledge. And it seems like in the world we take refuge in self-knowledge only after we've exhausted ourselves with every other faculty. Because there is one problem for the mind with this faculty of intuition, which is that the product of intuition you cannot put in your narrative. Because you cannot insert the third bird into the story. Which means that there is nothing in it for me. You see, when I say that you can't put it into a narrative, it sounds like a small problem. No, I don't want to put it in. You see, there's nothing in it for that one who's even saying I don't want anything in my narrative. You see, that one. There's nothing in it for you. It is the absence of the false. That is ignorance. The absence of ignorance is the discovery of the self. But the absence of ignorance is the absence of the me that wants to become free also. So there's only one way to come to the discovery. There's only one path, and that path is pathless. It doesn't mean you need a guy clicking in that. This thing empty of all paths. Whatever path you may have taken, your discovery will always be what's called aparoksha. Aparoksha means without the mechanics, without a set of steps, without a process. But your mental way of working, for that, is just confused. Because what am I saying you have to do? You have to go clicking all day? That can't be it. That can't be it. What mechanics do you need to be empty of mechanics? Like when I say mechanics, I'm talking about a mechanical process, step 1, step 2, step 3, even step 1 itself. So, if your contemplation is laden with trying to help the spiritual seeker to get freedom, then your actual process is just going from spiritual seeker to spiritual ego. So chop it all up right now. Finish. Very good. Did you want to add something, my dear?
No. Mm. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Pablo. Hello.
Hi, Master.
Hello, my dear. Good.
I need a Spanish translator, please.
Yes. You were the one who did. So let's see if who will do it. Georgie, where's Georgie? See her. Georgina, if you're here, just put up your hand on Zoom. Anyone else? Oh, there you are. Ah,
Hello, Father.
thank you. Pablo also from Argentina, isn't it?
Yes. Es mi primer satsang.
It's my first satsang.
Estoy muy emocionado.
And I'm very touched, very moved.
Y no lo puedo creer.
And I can't believe it.
Say that again.
I can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
Mi pregunta es, acerca del sufrimiento.
My question is about suffering.
Yes.
En la autoindagación
In self-inquiry,
Mm.
puedo notar, ver
Yes.
que hay tres maneras básicas de poder afrontar el sufrimiento.
that there are three basic ways of facing suffering.
Mm.
La primera que hago es, según las indicaciones de Muji, es
The first one
permanecer en el I am, en el yo
First
soy.
one I do, according to Guruji's pointings, is to remain in the I am.
Yes. Yes.
La segunda, cuando no puedo permanecer en el I am, es dejar que el sufrimiento salga, se exprese, se mueva en este espacio.
The second one, when I cannot remain in the I am, I just let suffering come out and express itself and move in this space.
Y la tercera, cuando no puedo hacer ninguna de las dos, cuando no puedo permanecer y la mente es más fuerte,
And the third one, when I cannot do either of these ones and the mind is stronger,
no hacer nada.
I don't do anything.
Yes.
Sufro, me muevo con el sufrimiento,
I just suffer and I move with my suffering.
Acha.
podríamos hablar un poco sobre eso.
Can we talk a little bit?
Yes.
Can we
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
Can we talk a bit about?
That
Is it? Okay. So, are you in spirituality only to be free from suffering?
Pablo, ¿entendés el inglés o te traduzco el inglés también?
Sí, me lo puede traducir, Georgie, por favor, gracias.
¿Estás en espiritualidad solamente para ser libre del sufrimiento?
Sí,
Yes.
Not to discover yourself or find God, none of the other reasons.
No para descubrirte a vos mismo, para encontrar a Dios, ninguno de los otros motivos.
no, también por esos motivos.
Also for those reasons.
Is it that?
Para,
Yes, yes. So is it that we want God so that then I can be free from suffering, or we want God and then we are not concerned about what is the state of this human life?
Entonces, ¿es que queremos a Dios para yo poder estar libre del sufrimiento o queremos a Dios y luego no nos importa cuál es el estado en esta vida humana?
sí, lo quiero a Dios. Me
I
doy
want
cuenta
God.
de que cuando me apego al mundo, el mundo trae el placer, pero también el sufrimiento, y que solo Dios, cuando estoy en el yo soy, estoy en paz.
I realized that when I attach myself to the world, then there is pleasure, but there is also suffering. And only in the I am I in peace.
So is it so that you want to enjoy the pleasure of the world but not experience the pain of the world, and therefore
Sí,
you're looking for God to help you with that?
es entonces para poder, para poder obtener el placer, o sea, el disfrute del mundo y no el dolor del mundo, y la idea es que Dios te pueda ayudar con eso.
It's not nothing to feel like I'm blaming you or you have to feel guilty. I'm just trying to understand deeper.
No te estoy culpando, o no es la idea de que te sientas culpable, sino que estoy tratando de entender más profundamente.
En mi historia espiritual vine de mucho placer, de búsqueda del mundo, de satisfacción, pero poco a poco fui eliminando, dejando eso, limpiando.
In my previous search, I came from pleasure and looking for pleasure and satisfaction, but then little by little that was being removed.
Yes. So I have
Y me
a
di cuenta que solo Dios basta, como dice Santa Teresa de Ávila.
And then I realized that, as Saint Teresa of Avila says, that only God is enough.
God for God's sake.
Yes. Solo Dios por Dios mismo.
So this will make all the difference. You see, this question will make all the difference.
Esta pregunta hace toda la diferencia.
Thank you. So if you had to live a lie but feel no pain, or if you had the choice to find out the truth, the absolute truth, but experience the life of pain and pleasure, what would you pick?
Sorry, Father, can you speak in shorter sentences?
So,
Yeah.
so if you had two choices,
Digamos que tenés dos opciones.
first choice is that you can live a lie,
La primera es vivir una mentira,
but you experience no pleasure, no pain.
sin sentir dolor.
Or you can live the truth or find the truth,
O vivir la verdad, o encontrar la verdad,
but experience a life which is both pleasure and pain.
pero experimentar una vida que sea tanto de dolor como de placer.
What would you pick?
¿Qué elegirías?
La segunda.
Second one.
Yes.
No me queda otra. No soy
There's
yo el
no
que
other-
busca.
There's no other alternative, and it's not me who is looking.
What if you had the full power? There was an alternative and it was fully your choice.
Si tuvieras todo el poder, si hubiese una alternativa y sería completamente tu elección,
Y lo busco a Dios.
I look for God.
Now, if you come to the discovery of God
Si llegas al descubrimiento de Dios,
and still experience pain,
todavía así experimentas el dolor.
would you be okay with that?
¿Te parecería bien? ¿Estarías bien con eso?
Yes.
Yes? Sincerely.
Sinceramente,
Sí.
Very good. Very good. So, otherwise, what will happen is that
muy bien, porque si no lo que va a pasar es que
the me will be guiding your entire spiritual process.
el yo va a guiar todo tu proceso espiritual.
You see? So the me will say, oh, this inquiry works for me,
El yo va a decir, esta indagación me funciona,
or surrender works for me,
o la rendición me funciona,
or staying with the sense I am works for me.
o quedarme con el sentido yo soy me funciona,
Or the invitation works for me.
o la invitación a la libertad me funciona.
But all of these things are not meant to help the me, but to be rid of the me.
Pero todas estas cosas no están ahí para ayudar al yo, sino para liberarse del yo.
So if you keep listening to what the mind wants,
Si seguís escuchando lo que la mente quiere,
you will have to run on this treadmill forever.
vas a tener que seguir corriendo en esta ruedita de hámster por siempre.
¿Y cómo distinguir entre la mente y Dios?
How do I tell the mind and God apart?
Are you aware now?
¿Ahora sos consciente? ¿Tenés conciencia?
Sí,
¿O estás consciente?
sí.
Yes.
Stay there where this is obvious.
Quédate ahí donde esto es obvio.
That is God.
Eso es Dios.
That is intuition.
Esa es la intuición.
What do you have to do to stay here?
¿Qué tenés que hacer para quedarte acá?
Do you stay here with your attention?
¿Te quedas acá con tu atención?
Cuando el ego no está,
When ego is not there,
el ego se disuelve
ego dissolves.
Yes.
es más fácil.
It's easier.
Who is saying that?
¿Y quién dice eso?
El ego.
Ego.
Cannot go with the thief's report about where the thief is.
No puedes ir con o creerle al informe del ladrón sobre dónde está el ladrón.
El ego quiere hablar.
Ego wants to speak.
You reply to him. Georgie, you reply directly.
Me?
Yeah, you reply yourself from your heart.
Really? Right now?
Yes, yes.
You mean in Spanish?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Me está pidiendo Ananta que le responda yo que te responda yo desde mi corazón. Me está poniendo a prueba, me parece. ¿Qué fue lo que dijiste?
¿Cómo, Georgie?
Me dijo que te responda yo directamente.
Sí.
No que traduzca, sino que te responda yo. ¿Qué fue lo último que dijiste?
Que el ego quiere hablar, la mente quiere volver a preguntar y como tener ese objeto, Dios, que lo pueda tocar, abrazar.
Mm. Sí, sigue siendo la mente, ¿no? Diciendo esas cosas. Que diga lo que quiera, ¿no?
Sorry, my wife is just leaving for Pune, so I said bye to her.
Está yendo, la mujer de Ananta se está yendo a Puna, a otra ciudad. Se está yendo de viaje.
I'm not answering because I'm tired or I don't like the translation, this process or anything like that. I just want the Sangha to also be able to help each other. And so many of my children who've been with me for some time, I feel I trust them to help their brothers and sisters in this way.
No es que no esté respondiendo, dice Ananta, no es que no esté respondiendo porque esté cansado o por el proceso de traducción que me canse o nada de eso, sino porque parte de la sangha ha estado conmigo por un tiempo y bueno, darle la oportunidad a ellos para responder y la confianza en que nos ayudemos entre nosotros.
Muchísimas gracias. Es lo que necesitaba confirmar.
Thank you so much. That's what I needed to confirm.
Gracias, Georgie. Gracias.
Gracias, Pablo. Gracias.
Thank you both. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Okay, let's go to Etienne.
Can you hear me?
Yes, my dear. Can you?
Okay, I don't see you now.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Uh,
So it's quite some time I didn't appear and talk, and I thought it was good to do it today.
yes.
And I'm very, very happy for our sharing now. I feel to observe. I feel, no, I don't feel to observe. I was observing actually.
Yeah.
That it's not new, but it's always coming and happening again. Just noticing that we come to relax,
Yes.
to be now in your looking, and but in the same time, old patterns are mixing.
Yes.
Of wanting to be recognized, just simply.
Yes.
And so whatever comes in the mind is good to just to interact with you, so we get your attention, and then then we are in a kind of role play, and it's not exactly what we wanted to do, and yes, we don't want to graduate actually, but it happens on the way because it is the old pattern. Yes. To become a good describer of even what I'm doing now can be included in this pattern. Just okay, I'm a good looker, a good inquirer, and what does it make me more happy? No.
Yes.
It's kind of a trip, a kind of it's part of an addiction of the old.
Yes.
Addiction. So because I'm watching in this, not only in satsang, of course, but in many situations, that the need of recognition is the virus of the of life, of our identification with the me. So it is you are all the time deconstructing, and we reconstruct with you. See what I mean? Just we just put one more card, and you. So I just I just needed to expose this, because it plays in satsang in this way, but in my case, in my daily life, I can see, I can really see the play of the thief and the policeman all the time, and when the police is gone, the thief is just free and happy, and then he says, I'm aware, I've seen it, I've seen the trouble I was making myself, and so on. So this is what I just wanted to share. It's not new. It's I'm sorry. It's just it's an ongoing process, and I'm very happy. I mostly don't need to talk about this, but because I feel more like a sponge, impregnating, just being relaxed, and not wanting to be or something. But I felt today to share more directly.
Thank you.
And so I'm happy if you have something to say about that, or however how you.
Nice to hear you. It's very nice. It's good. I feel like you've been listening, you've been assimilating quite well. So it's very good.
Thank you so much for all this all the last week so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All my love. Let's go to, can we go to Kavita? I know with Kavita, she often joins but is not able to stay for too long. So she goes away. So I want to see what she wants to ask.
Thank you, Father. So I have a question which is a little practical. I've heard Ramana say that, I mean, that's what I thought. Someone told me that he says that action is bondage.
Yeah.
So does that mean that, so recently, in the last 9 months, I was inspired to do a feeding program. So I kind of cook food in the mornings and I distribute it amongst the homeless.
Uh-huh.
And over the time, it's increased from 10 to 150.
Very good. Very good.
Every day. So I cook at home. So the thing is that somehow I feel that, is this another like level of bondage that I've got myself into?
Maybe I can take the courage and paraphrase Bhagavan in some way. Like, let me make it clearer what he would have tried to convey. It is not the action which is bondage, but it is the actor which is bondage.
The actor seeps in, because there's ambition. Anytime you take up something, you want to do it better. You want to give more. You want to, there's all that, the baggage that comes with it.
Sorry, don't seep in, because if we go with that conclusion, then there is no hope. Then what we will have to do is all become vegetative and sit in a cave or something like that.
Yeah.
The actor just seeped in without consciousness's choice to play as if it is the actor, you see, or believe the seriousness of the role of the actor. It would, it would be lost. Like no chance of freedom would be possible for anyone, because the waking state is going to be full of action.
Yeah.
It is called charitable action or work action or relationship or whatever, all full of actions. So if activity equaled bondage, then we would be in trouble. Because activity is bound to be there in the waking state. Even the sitting down, we call that the activity of meditating. So there is no escape from this activity in the waking state. So, but if we say that, but then if there is activity, then the notion of the doer just seeps in. You see, then there is no escape from it. Then we are just stuck till, some hand of God has to just pluck us or something like that. You see, which I'm saying half jokingly, of course. So then what is the alternative? You will notice that the notion of the doer is dependent on the thought that I am the doer, and all auxiliary thoughts which sort of convey that. You see, so even the thought that I didn't cook well enough today or I didn't manage the thing well enough today is the notion of the doer, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So we don't have to wait for that specific thought saying I'm the doer of this. Any of this which conveys in a way that I am somebody and I am doing is the thought about doership. You see, that thought itself does not have the power to compel consciousness to identify. See? So even when the thought proposes this way, maybe that's why I'm coming down on it so almost aggressively. So when the thought says, but it just happens, I can't help it. It is just true. It is the thief again saying the thief is very slippery. You can't catch the thief that easily because so it is the thief itself.
Yeah.
So how do you know that it seeps in?
Because there's a kind of a wanting of some kind of result or certain amount of finance to come in. There's like a sense of somebody who wants it to happen a particular way.
Yes. How do you know this?
I'm aware of it, yeah.
How are you aware of it?
Because I behave stupidly, the thought processes that come in and all that, What I'm asking you, is it another bondage? Because as it is, we're dealing with so much in our lives and we take on one more role.
The root question really, you see, the root question really is not whether you are provided a concept of whether it's okay to do this or not, you see, which may be the original intent of asking this question.
Yeah.
But I want to take it even deeper than that, is to say, so, okay, now you have a concept that it's all right. The action can flow, but don't become the actor. You
Yeah.
see, we hold that in a mental container somewhere and say, okay, that is the principle with which I'm doing this project. You see, but we hold on to the ego with the notion of I am doing this project. Then that my job is not properly done then.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's there
Yes.
somehow. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to attempt to go this a step deeper than the intent of the original question, I feel, and say, okay, so what can we rely on to make a true report about ourselves?
Good one. Not the mind for
You're
sure.
the first one who said good one. Everyone else is sort of said. Okay.
Yeah, because you're relying on the mind and the mind doesn't know, you're right.
Yes. And I don't know if you were there in the beginning of Satsang. Were you there in the beginning?
I wasn't sorry, I wasn't there.
So I'll just recap for you because it's important. No? So, and this will be a good recap, I feel, for everyone as well. So Bhagwan had clearly said that the self will not be a fresh attainment. It's not something that you're going to get from outside. It will be only in the absence of ignorance that the self will become apparent. You see? So it is a process of deconstruction or a process of cleaning up of ignorance rather than a process of fresh attainment. You see, that has to become the first thing which is clear. The second thing that should become clear is that when we notice the nature of this ignorance, we notice that it comes from the mind. You see, the mind proposes that you are this body, you are this body mind, you have this life, you're supposed to do this and not supposed to do that. So, duality, desire, doership, all of this is proposed by the mind. You see? So, the source of ignorance is the mind. You see? The third is that when we notice the nature of the mind, it seems to be laden with self-preservation. Otherwise, on hearing Bhagwan's words, we could have said, oh, ignorance is the problem. Mind causes ignorance. Mind, please go. Done. You see? But in the design of this Leela, it does not seem like the mind is designed like that. The more you try to push it away, the more it wants to have its say. You see? So self-preservation and in fact domination seems to be the nature of the mind.
Yes.
So let's use the metaphor of the thief then. You see, who doesn't want to be caught, obviously. You see? Now, what most of us do as spiritual seekers, we go to this thief itself to say, okay, now how do I get rid of the thief or catch the thief? You see, and what do you feel the thief is going to say?
He's not going to give himself up for
He's
sure.
not going to give himself up. You see? So that mistake, that folly that we make in terms of trying to catch the thief, following the thief's instruction, you see, is predominantly the job of the spiritual seeker. You see, that is mostly what a spiritual seeker is doing. So if you cannot go to the mind for instructions about how to get to Manonasha, then where can we go?
The awareness. That's always there.
So that insight, that awareness is always here. Where you recognize that, you see, where you recognize that, all guidance is available there. Where you see that you are awareness itself, it is not empty of, it is not a lost state. It is not that, oh, now there is a practical life. So like I was joking earlier and saying, how can a bird flap its wings and a fish swim and a plant grow without the mind? Because all of these are practical things. But in the human condition, this is where we are stuck. We are stuck with a mind which has the ability to ask these huge questions, you see, but is completely unable to assimilate any true answer about anything valuable. Love, truth, joy, music, companionship. It cannot understand in the mind. So this is the main problem, where we've taken the source of ignorance to be the source of guidance in spirituality also.
True.
They're listening to the thief about how to catch the thief. So the thief will always say, but this is your problem. These feelings come. You start thinking you're the doer. You see, it is never going to say, I am the thief. I am causing the problem. This thought is the problem. It is not going to say, don't believe me. I am the problem. You see, it is going to say, believe me. Like Donald Trump, every time he had to convince people about what he was saying, he had to say, believe me. So in the same way, the mind also says, believe me. So what are we going to do now?
Good one. Listen to the mind, I guess, you know.
So where can we go for a report about what my problem is? What do I need to fix?
Probably just to the heart and to know there's nothing to fix, actually. There's no one, you know, it's like if you really trust the awareness, then you know that it's, like you said, it's in charge of everything. It's the only thing that exists.
Yeah.
So there's no...
How do we know that we are being intuitive and not mental?
when we are accepting, when we are acceptance of what is, right? Because the moment I'm judging...
The only fail-safe I have found is that when who you are is apparent to you.
Yes.
So use that as the fail-safe mechanism. And in the times where it feels like, but it's not apparent to me right now, I'm caught up in the world and my thing and things like that, then you can use a tool like, am I aware now? And you will notice that that insight is available without using the mind, without using attention, without all of that. And you can find that although I say remain here, what I mean is don't go to the other source of knowledge, which is mental.
So when the doubt comes up, which is mental, like, am I doing the right thing?
Yes.
Just go into the awareness.
Go to that, let's call it space provisionally. You recognize that you are awareness. And all guidance, all intelligence, that is the source of it. So you go straight to the source rather than try to grasp at some branches.
So eventually then it really doesn't matter what you do or you don't do, right? I mean, from the physical, from the mental point of view.
I don't mean this the wrong way at all, but this is an example of how the mind is. It will ask the big question, but it can only receive a concept in return. It's like a bucket of concepts. So I don't want to feed you any more concepts, because then that just becomes mental knowledge.
So basically, it's just trusting yourself, that every time you just go to awareness.
No. Okay. Let's speak a little more about this. I feel like it's helpful for everyone. So the first question about matter is trying to presume the sort of meaning or the point of life. You see, mattering must matter only if there's a meaning or a point. Now, in the mind's version of the meaning of life or the purpose of life, that is not the true benchmark at all. You see? So what is our benchmark or gauge going to be? Like if we say something matters or it does not matter, or something is better or it is worse, you see, then what will we benchmark it against? It will only be against conceptual notions. So it's best to leave the question of the point. You see, the point. Sometimes I've started joking these days saying life is not a pencil that it has to have a point. You see? What I'm trying to say with that is not that life is pointless. I'm just saying that let's accept that our head is not big enough to fathom the point of life or the meaning of life. You see? And then we stop troubling ourselves in this way, trying to figure out whether what I'm doing matters or it doesn't matter, you see, or life matters or it doesn't matter. Because the potential does not exist in the mind to fathom this. It is too broad. It cannot fathom the meaning of one moment. You see, what is this right now? It cannot fathom.
Yeah.
So how do we fathom the point of life? And why I said no earlier was also that if it becomes that at the end of this conversation you've understood something conceptually, then I have failed.
Yeah.
I don't want you to leave with a tiny branch. And I'm giving you the entire ocean.
In terms of, when you're at a crossroad or use discrimination, in fact, you have to take a choice. And the mind does come in, doesn't it?
It will, but you be intuitive. I've given you the tool to distinguish between the mind and intuitive insight or heart knowledge. Whatever the situation may be, heart knowledge is enough. But if you burden your intuitive insight with the operation of the mind saying, okay, now you're going to go to the heart, just make sure it works, okay? This kind of stuff, then it doesn't work. It's not a cheat code to life. But you will see in the course of time that such grace because you followed your heart. But don't expect it to have some immediate, it's not like manifesting tool or something like that. A good opportunity for us to also recap some of the main messages I was trying to convey today. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
One says, Dear Father, there is a thought which keeps me doubtful. I acknowledge that truth beats my heart. Wait. I acknowledge means, is this the mind saying, yes, the truth does beat my heart, but what about, and that's what you say. So, but what about the truth's role in poverty, starvation, Holocaust, world wars, etc.? This is a classical question. Classical question. So because I see where this question comes from, I'm going to give this guidance to you, which is that just trust me, and don't bother with this kind of stuff. Just keep following your heart. This is just mind diversion. You don't need to understand the mind of God. Stay in your heart. It is revealing itself to you beautifully. Don't get confused. We don't get stuck in good and bad and better and worse and right and wrong. Not at this moment. There will be a time where all this may reveal itself to you in the heart. It's fine. But don't get distracted by this stuff. Let's go to Satyam.
Hello, Ananta-ji, Father.
My dear.
First, thank you again and again, always. This intuitive heart, effortless, and nothing. इसके लिए कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ये हमारी natural state है. It's always here. So I want to look when this, and then the thought comes in, like it's really kind of a nasty thoughts, like to पहला heart attack तो बच गया, second में तू मरेगा, and the thoughts, and something gets scared. So in this natural state, you understand.
Yeah.
And पहले में तू बच गया, और फिर, and then there is fear and the whole narrative जो आपसे मैंने पहले बोला था before we talked. So recognizing this intuitive space which is always here, nothing is happening to this. So is there a need to inquire who is this mind speaking to? Because that will be another trap. It's like calling the thief, hello, where you are.
Yes, yes. Like I was asking the previous question also, what is this really about? Is it truth for truth's sake, to discover the deathless reality of myself? Or is it just a mere antidote for some life event or fear or something like this?
To be honest, it's because nothing to hide for the moment now. It's really an antidote for all these fears which I'm sensing. But there has been, of course, in my life, there has been this, don't want to go into the stories, long stories, but everyone has some openings, and then we see, oh, life is not only about this body. So there's that longing for God. But right now, as I talk now with you, is this, and of course I can sense the sense of being is always here, and all your pointers are in my heart, who's even aware of the being. But this when the head starts to speak, and it's taken very seriously. So in those moments,
yes, it's not possible that the head speaks and it is automatically taken. That is worth exploring, okay? Because if you buy into that notion, if you buy into the notion that all the head has to do is speak and then there's no alternative, then all the master's pointings, don't identify, keep quiet, all of these pointings that all our masters have said are pointless, no? Because what is the point of guiding their disciples with all of this? If it is the fact that if the mind appears, then there's no option but to believe it, you see, but to identify. So what we are pointing to is that there is a gap between the appearance of the thought and the belief in the thought. And that gap completely depends on you as consciousness. You see? But if you try to use that gap as a person, then it fails. It happens too fast for a person to fathom. In fact, a person doesn't even exist. So it is not something that the person can use.
मतलब अनंत जी मैं आइडेंटिफाई कर लेता हूँ एकदम. I mean, I identify so fast with this.
Yes. So try to start with making it a bit slower. Just notice it first. You see, as you notice it, then you will see that it doesn't latch on as quickly as we think. You see? Otherwise, we'll be hostage to this thought that we are stuck, because as soon as the mind appears, then I'm already identified. And that is why then we can say, okay, this is not working, I've tried. That is the first thing I want to tell you. And second thing is that we can never use God, you see, we can never use the truth to help the non-existent false. You see? So if we want to use the truth already in the pretense that, but I believe the false to be true, now help me from that perspective, then God does not dance to our tunes. No? And that's why we see the repetitive failing nature of this endeavor. Because once you've taken yourself to be that which you're not, and then you say, now God, you help me. You see? Then that doesn't work. Or inquiry should help me, or something should help me. It doesn't work. You must drop the pretense and make it God for God's sake. You see, truth for truth's sake. I'm saying this after a long time actually. But truth for truth's sake instead of truth for my sake. Because as long as it's truth for my sake or God for my sake, then the lane is not broad enough for both of you.
So what I'm doing is actually I'm trying to help the non-existence person which I've taken myself to be.
Yes. And that
make it like that.
Inadvertently, then what we are doing is we are taking the me to be God, and we want God to be subservient to that God. You see, because in the narrative, the me is still primary. God is helpful or God is good because God helps me. You see, and this sort of answers the earlier Sham's question also, that God is good because God conforms to my idea of what the world should be. but there's not room enough for God and me.
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say.
It's okay, it's good. It's good. It's good like this. And this is so subtle. The mind plays this trick and gets into the thing, no? Becomes a part of the movie very quickly. But it's all about me. What use is satsang to me? There, of course, many of you may feel that I come to satsang, I spend 3 hours here. How does that help me? Is it? Now, which are the rare ones who can come and notice that the job is not to help me? You see, because it is the me which is the suffering. But even as I say this, the mind can latch on to that and say, yes, I am suffering from this me only. I have to be rid of the me. So it's again the me acting as a meta me. So what you take yourself to be has to be let go of.
And that is that means the one who was born and who has a history and who has a past, desires, ambitions, the one I take myself to be. Sabko janava.
Yes, but I'll give you the good news that actually every moment it is gone. See? Every moment it is gone. But when you pick up a single notion about yourself in that way, then it seems like the entire tree of conditioning is back. See? So you can't tug at a single leaf. If you tug at a leaf, the whole tree appears. See? So the tiniest notion, if you give it belief that I am limited in some way, then your entire baggage of history, conditioning, all of that is there. This is the game that is going on. So, like jokingly, it's not really 3 seconds, but jokingly, I've said that all of this is a 3-second game. Thought will come. If it goes, you remain free. If you take it to be true, it's like you're back in conditioning. That's all. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's all. All of life is this.
और कहीं ना कहीं अनंत हमको पता भी है कहीं ना कहीं somewhere we know that this person which we take ourselves to be, this place which we know that this is a lie, somewhere at some level we know that this is a lie.
Yes.
That place.
Yes, Ajay, and that's been the theme of so many satsangs where we are trying to tell you that the place where you think you are the person is not the true place. Your heart, your intuitive space, you see, where you recognize that you are awareness, you see, that's where you know. That is the aspect of yourself where it is apparent who you really are. But if you go to the playground of limitation, then it'll seem like it is true that you are a body mind.
So need your blessing, Father, so I can let go of this.
Always.
Because it helps with Guru Grace, I know it. So my efforts are limited. So, you know.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to obituaries.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste.
I want to say to you, thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you. I see this pendulum movement like, yeah, like sometimes I am, sometimes.
Wait. You see it?
Yeah.
You see it. How do you see it? With what senses? With which senses do you see it?
When you asked me Is it what you refer?
Yes, yes. So I say you see this oscillation, no? This pendulum movement. Sometimes I'm this way, sometimes I'm that way. This you see it or you think it?
I see thinking.
Uh-huh.
I see the thinking
Yes.
of the body,
So
like
what is the seeing saying?
many things. Like
Seeing
can
is
be.
saying, okay, it may seem like I'm making fun or something. I'm not doing that. I'm just, because this is what the mind does. The mind will say, it is not me that is causing all this trouble. It is your seeing. You're seeing all this. You see, when I ask, how do you know, to every question, then mostly the response I get is because I notice it. It is not true that you notice it.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Yes.
It's only a thought.
I mean, I see this. I thought saying I have to do this or not yet or many things or I have to be like this to get to myself. But I'm not like the body or this mind.
Yes. Stay where you know that. Stay only where you know that you're not the body, you're not the mind. You see, don't go to the mind which tells you you are the body.
Yeah, there is a little, the worrying a little bit to believe these things.
How do you know?
Okay.
You see
Yeah,
it?
because
Where can we go for a true report about ourselves? I sound like a broken record.
there is no going.
There's no going. See what I'm saying?
I am already all the movement of travel or process or it's like happening, but I am already seeing all this mind saying not already or all these things, but I am here.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that whatever the thief may say, I recognize it is the thief. But my reality is independent of the thief, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Good.
Yeah, sometimes I believe I'm the thief.
No, sometimes. How do you know sometimes?
I don't know. How do I know? Because I believe the movement of the thief or something.
Yes, so stop it. The thief will never tell you its address.
Yeah.
Never tell you. So what happens in the life of a spiritual seeker is that we keep chasing the projects that the thief says are true about us. So this is the problem right now. This is what you need to do. This is where you are. You're almost there. You see, you need to jump off the final cliff into absolute freedom. All these kind of mental fantasies. So just recognize the thief for the thief. And remember that there's only one problem, which is belief in that thought. That's all. No other problem has ever happened. So when it tries to distract you, no, it's this thing, is that thing, is this, is that. No. That's it.
Thank you very much, Father. Thank you.
Let's go to Madalena. Yeah. Madalena. It's not there. Let's go to Jada.
Hello.
No, my dear.
Hi, Father. Just wanted to speak with you, and I can cry a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's all good. I just feel a little bit tired still. Can you hear me well?
Yes, you feel a bit tired?
Yeah, my body is just too heavy. I cannot move it so well. I don't know why it happened, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have to move it?
Well, today I had a visa appointment, and I couldn't collect my documents stuff, and so that on Monday again I need to go, but I feel like it's good because it caused something else. But this heaviness, yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Yes. Yeah. The heaviness in itself has power over you. Does the heaviness in itself have power over you? Just perceive the heaviness together. Let's see if we can do this. Perceive the heaviness. How big is it?
Yeah, maybe my attention was not so much on where you are pointing to for a very while, and yeah.
I'm saying something very simple. I'm saying something very simple. I'm just saying that the mind will always say that the trouble that you have is not because of the mind, it is because of some feeling, some sensation, something in the world, some perception. Now, my request, submission, imploration, whatever to all of you is to check that that is not true. It is only the mind which is causing trouble. No perception has the power to actually affect your reality in any way.
Yeah, thank you, Father, because I was aware recently that there is always something, with body, with feelings, with mood, everything is continuously changing. And yeah, I cannot be always in a resting state with this body or mind, and everything is continuously changing. And yeah, I don't know what to do with this. And actually, yeah, I'm asking for help for you to guide me on this.
So if you make categories or opposites in your mind, which is that if you know resting state versus non-resting state, or heaviness versus lightness, then we are already in the mental mode. Like as little babies, we did not know these categories, and yet life was going on.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the loss of innocence. This is taking the bite of the apple, where we start to understand this is better, this is worse, this is good, this is bad, this is what I want, this is not what I want. And that is the way of knowing like this is what we call resistance. And ego is nothing but resistance. There is no difference between ego and resistance. So to say what God has given me in this moment is in the category of good, or the category of bad is the source of all trouble. You see? Now, inherently, what we experience as perception is never good or bad.
Sorry, Father. What?
Inherently, what we perceive is neither good nor bad. It is not in mental categories. You see? It is just what it is.
Father, I feel like, and Guruji already pointed this to me before, I have so many concepts, but unknowingly somehow they are here, and yeah, I'm a little bit suffering from them. This is the only problem. So yeah, please continue.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't have this concept, if you don't have the conceptual categories of good and bad, better and worse, what I want and what I don't want, then all of life can be perceived very beautifully.
Yeah, I just want to drop them.
It's already dropped. If you want to drop them, it's not dropped.
Okay.
It's dropped. Dropped.
It feels like I need to do something, like.
You think that.
Yeah, I still think.
The instant you buy into any thought, and that is what the mind will do. It'll say, yeah, now I just want to stay like this. You see, then the thief is talking and giving you advice about how to catch the thief. It's not going to work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was continuously speaking. Yes, thank you for pointing this out.
Yes, but by its speaking, it does not have the power to get domination over you. You see, only with the power of belief, with the power of identification, do you come into any sort of mental oppression or mental slavery.
Yeah. Thank you for.
It can keep speaking forever. It doesn't matter. If it kept speaking forever, also, it did not matter. See, it's not in its speaking that the trouble is. It is in consciousness taking that speech to be real.
And it speaks as I. Yeah.
It speaks both ways. It speaks as I. It also speaks as you. It says you did not do a good job of this. You should not have asked this question. It will say all this as you also. Sometimes I, sometimes you. It plays all these games.
While you're saying this, I just wanted to look like to whom does it speak.
But how do you know you want this?
It just arises.
Arise means?
I forget.
It is not that we will hear the 100th instruction from the thief and that will finally be the accurate destination, accurate address. So I'm going to just stop here because I noticed the body is fading. So thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Keval.